Hi guys, in this video lecture we will discuss about one of the important topic from the endocrine gland, that is basically the pituitary glands. So basically the glands are classified into two categories. The first one, that is exocrine gland, while the second one, that is endocrine glands. So basically the exocrine gland, these are the gland in which the secretion move through a specific duct to a target organ or site. Such type of the gland are called as exocrine glands, while the endocrine glands, so the secretion of these glands move through blood circulation or lymph to their target site. Such type of the gland are called endocrine gland. So pituitary gland are basically belong to the endocrine gland category. Now what the pituitary gland is? So basically the first one regarding to the pituitary gland, that is about the meaning of the pituitary glands. So pituitary, it is actually a Latin words, that is pituita. Now this mean that mucus are flame. So what does it mean? So in the ancient time it was believed that this gland, it is responsible for the secretion of mucus or phlegm, and this mucus, it will move from the brain to the nose. So that's why they are called as pituitary glands. Now the second one, that is the term used for this pituitary gland. So the first term, that is, it is also called as hypophysis or master gland. So why this gland, pituitary gland, it is called as hypophysis or master glands? So the first one, that is hypophysis, because the pituitary gland, it is located below the hypothalamus. So that's why the pituitary gland, it is called as hypophysis. The second name, that is master gland of the endocrine systems. So why the pituitary gland, it is called as the master gland of the endocrine systems? Because the pituitary gland, it will secrete some hormone that control the function of other endocrine glands. So that's why it is called as master gland of the endocrine system, while the hypothalamus, it is called as master endocrine glands. Hypothalamus, the part of the brain. So the hypothalamus, it is basically called as master endocrine gland, while pituitary gland, it is called as endocrine glands. Now the location below the hypothalamus or below the brain parts, it is very peculiar, because the secretion of the pituitary gland, it is under the control of the hypothalamus. So this location below the hypothalamus, it is unique. Now the second one, that is the location where this pituitary gland is located in our body. So this gland, it is basically located in the head region. So right in the skull, a bone is present that we call it is sphenoid bone. Now inside this sphenoid bone, a depression or cavity is present that we call as sella turcica. So what is sella turcica? It is basically a depression or cavity found in the sphenoid bone. So sphenoid bone, it is basically the bone present in the skull, or you can say in the heads. So in this sella turcica, the pituitary gland, it is located. So this is about the location where the pituitary gland, it is located. Now the next point, that is about the number of pituitary glands. So in our body, the pituitary gland, it is actually a single gland, or you can say it is unfair gland. So this is about the number of the pituitary gland. So pituitary gland, it is basically a single gland found in the brain regions, or you can say in the head regions. Now the next point, that is about the weight of the pituitary gland. So pituitary gland, it is basically 0.5 gram in weight, and it's shaped like the pea, a plant. So it look like the shape of pea. So this is about the shape and the weight of the pituitary glands. So as we have talked about in the hypophysis, so this pituitary gland, it is basically located below the hypothalamus. Now when this pituitary gland, it is located in the depression of sphenoid bone that we call as sella turcica. Now this pituitary gland, it will attach with the hypothalamus through a specific stalk, or you can say the connection through which the pituitary gland it is attached with the hypothalamus. Now this connection, or you can say the stalk, it is called as an fundibular stalk. So this is basically the connection through which the pituitary gland it is attached with the hypothalamus. Now the size, right, in the male and women, so this is basically larger in case of the women. So another medical condition in which surgically the pituitary gland it is removed. Now the removal of this pituitary gland it is called as hypophyseectomy. Hypophyseectomy, it is basically a medical condition in which the pituitary gland it is removed. So basically the removal of pituitary gland we call it as hypophyseectomy. Now, basically the hormone that are released by the pituitary gland that we call it is the master gland, because it controls the secretion of other endocrine glands. So basically the hormone that are secreted from the pituitary gland, they are basically fructiferous or glycofructin in natures. Now this is about a short introduction about the pituitary glands. Now we will see here the division of pituitary gland. Now basically the pituitary gland it is divided into two region, or you can say into two lobe. One of them that is called as anterior lobe, while the second one that is called as posterior lobe. So this is overall the structure of the pituitary gland and which two lobe is present, that is anterior lobe and posterior lobe. Now another term used for the anterior lobe that we call as adenohypophysis, while the posterior lobe it is called as neurohypophysis. So these are actually the other term used for the anterior and posterior lobe. Neurohypophysis. Now both of these lobes are division, they have a different embryonic origin. Now we will look here how the development of this overall pituitary gland occur, or you can say how the anterior and posterior lobe are formed. So basically the embryonic development, so basically the pituitary lobe or pituitary gland are actually formed from two different origin. One of them that is the hypothalamus, and the second one that is stomodium, that is the part of the digestive system. So this is actually the two layer of the hypothalamus, ectoderms and endoderms, while this is the two layers of the stomodium, that is ectoderms and endoderms. So basically what happens, so the development of the pituitary gland it start at the fourth week of gestations. So this is basically the hypothalamus, and this part it is called as ectodermal part, or you can say the ectodermal layers, while this is the endodermal layer. Now what happens, so basically from the ectodermal layers and outwards or downward outgrowth arise, or you can say a focket arise downward from the ectodermal region of the hypothalamus. So this is the outgrowth of the ectodermal layers, while the next one that is the stomodium. Now right from the stomodium, this layer it is called as ectodermal. So right from the ectodermal region of the stomodium, an upward and outgrowth arise, that is actually right in the upward direction. Now this will form a pouch. Now this outgrowth from the ectodermal layer of the stomodium it is called as Rathke pouch. So this is called as Rathke pouch because the scientist who discovered it, so that's why it is called as Rathke pouch. So this is the first step in which outgrowth arise. So from the hypothalamus and downward outgrowth arise from the ectodermal layers of the hypothalamus, while from the stomodium and an outgrowth arise in the upward direction that we call as Rathke pouch. Now what happened in the next steps? So right in the next step, this the extension or downward outgrowth of the hypothalamus it remain and it flies, while the Rathke forge it will move in the upward direction and attach with the outgrowth that is arise from the hypothalamus. So basically the two forge are connect with each other or meet with each other. Now, right in the next step, the connection of the red key forge with the stomatium it will lose, or you can say the red key forge it will lose from the stomatium and finally get attached with the outgrowth that is arise from the hypothalamus. So both of these they are actually connected with each others. Now these two forge they are actually form the anterior and posterior lobe of the pituitary gland. So basically the outgrowth downward outgrowth of the hypothalamus it will form the posterior lobe of the pituitary glands, while the Rethke forge that are actually the part of the digestive system that is actually the stomodium. This will basically form the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. So basically the anterior and posterior lobe they have different embryonic origins, and this overall development of the pituitary gland it will complete it at the 6 week of gestation. So basically it will take 2 weeks to complete its developments. So this is a short introduction of the pituitary gland and how the embryonic development of the pituitary gland occur. So in the following video lecture, we will basically focus on the anterior lobes and the posterior lobe, and also a border is present between the anterior and posterior lobe that we call as intermediate lobes. So in the next video lecture, we will get start from an anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. Thank you so much.